Hi, everybody. Juan here, Executive Director with Heart to Heart. And today I am going to help you in understanding how you can use Zoom, get to a Zoom meeting, create a Zoom meeting, all that stuff. So, the first thing we're going to do is start with the very basics, which is how to even get to Zoom from your computer. Let's say that you are at home and you want to get onto a Zoom to log in or use Zoom for the first time. So for the sake of this tutorial, I've made my mouse nice and large so everyone can see where I'm going. So I'm going to go to the bottom of the screen first, and you're going to see that I'm using Google Chrome. So I've opened up my Google Chrome, and now I am going to go to the address bar. I'm going to type in zoom.us, right? Now, when you go to the Zoom website, you'll notice a lot of different options. Join a meeting, host a meeting, sign in, sign up. It's free. So if you want to host a meeting, that's typically if you already have an account, you would most likely want to sign in first. But let's just talk about this option, the sign up it's free option. So you can actually sign up anytime at Zoom with multiple email addresses or just with one, whichever one is easier for you. And if I were to sign up today, I can Zoom someone. So in other words, I can video conference with someone for 40 minutes. Up to 100 people can be in that Zoom call for free. So theoretically speaking, I can talk to 100 people for 40 minutes, all on my computer and my webcam. And then after those 40 minutes are up, it'll automatically end the meeting, and then I can go and I could start a new one. So those are things that can happen, right? So for the sake of this video, I am going to sign in. So you'll notice that my information is already in there. I actually have an account. My account allows me to do different things because I actually pay for it. This is not a free account. I do have a free one that I use for other things, but this is just a heart-to-heart one. It's $14.99 a month, and it allows me to do things like screen record and share files and invite different people and mute people, and I can kind of control what happens in my meeting a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So now there's two ways that you can use Zoom. You can use it from your computer screen on your web browser. So we are still in Google Chrome, as you'll see down here at the bottom. Okay. I typically do not use Zoom this way because for me it just looks a little bit more crowded, and it looks like there's just probably too many options here, and I like things simplified for me. So I go down here to the bottom of my computer screen where it says type here to search. Okay guys, so as I mentioned before, I like to go into this spot right here, which is my search bar and my start menu. I type in Zoom, and so I've downloaded the Zoom application, and like I mentioned, you can use the web version or you can use the Zoom app. So the Zoom app I like because it's very simple. It just has 4 quadrants. It looks similar to this on a phone. You'll notice that on the top I have some options. Okay, I don't put any of my contacts in Zoom, and I mean, you can look for meetings in here, but I do everything through my Outlook, which is right down here, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let's just talk about these 4 quadrants, right? So the first one is telling me that I can join a meeting. And in order for me to join a meeting, I need somebody's meeting ID. Now, I don't typically do this for a couple of reasons. One, if I'm mobile, I needed to have written down their meeting ID somewhere, or I need to remember it. The other thing is, if somebody really has your meeting ID that you use constantly, they can just drop in on your conversations all the time. Now, in this case, since this is a paid subscription, you have a little bit more control over who walks or into your meeting or who just pops into your meeting. The other one is to share screen. So there's a couple different options when sharing a screen, which I'll show you that. But it's also asking me for a meeting ID or a sharing key, which we don't have. So I typically leave these options alone. But now these are the 2 options that you will need to know to start your own meeting. Okay, now the best way to think about this scenario is that you are at home, you're in your living room, and you want to invite some of your friends to come over, right? Oh, let me get out of there. Sorry. I just closed it out. Okay, sorry. Let me get back in and go to home. Okay. So you're in your living room and you are about to invite some friends over. And you say, hey, I'm in my living room. I'm inviting you over right now. And what this does is it gives you the ability to start your own room, right? So now you can see what we're doing. And so in this virtual room, it's kind of like my living room or a virtual conference room. And now you can go ahead and invite people to this room. So you'll notice that if I click on invite, I have some options here of the people that I can invite. Some people like to save their their contacts here. Or you can also link your contacts from your email, right? So, but I like to not do either one of those. What I do is I copy the invitation. You'll notice here that it says the invitation email has been copied to your clipboard, okay? So now I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go down here where my big arrow is. All right, I'm going to click on my Outlook. I'm going to open up my Outlook. So now my Outlook is where all my emails come out of. And I'm just going to start a new email. And I'm going to type in PJ Gallo. That's my email. And I'm going to say, Bob, come to my meeting. Now I'm in the body of the email right here. So I'm going to put my cursor in there. I'm going to right click. And you'll notice that my clipboard will come up. And remember, it said that it was copied to the clipboard before. So I'm going to left click on that clipboard. And now all this information is here. And this is what Bob is going to need to get into that Zoom conference call. Okay. So when Bob gets this email, which I'll show you what it'll look like, it's going to look blue here. It's going to be highlighted. And all he has to do is click on that and it'll take him straight. So I will go ahead and send that. And then what I'll do is I'll actually log into my personal email. So you can see what that invitation looks like and what it looks like for someone to receive that invitation to that virtual living room, okay? So here's the email. It says, Bob, come to my meeting. And then in this particular case, probably because it is not, since it's already open, let me see if this works. Okay. So what I had to do here is it did not let me click it only because I'm using the same computer to invite the same computer. So what I did was I highlighted this whole address. I right clicked it. I'll do that again. Highlight, which is left click and drag. And I copied it. I opened up a new web browser. Let me do that again. I opened up a new web browser. I right clicked in the search bar. I hit paste. And I hit enter on my keyboard. And now it's telling me that I can either open Zoom or click here to launch the meeting. Okay? So in a perfect world, this would just be something that you left click on. It would be underlined, but since I'm on the same computer, it did that. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out of here. And then I'm going to go back to my Zoom app. Okay. And this time, it's now telling me to return to the meeting, which we have here, but I'm going to end this just for the sake of our recording. So now we're going to schedule a meeting. Okay. This one we're also going to call Juan Gallo or Juan and Bob. Right? So this is going to be Friday, March 27th at 6 p.m. I'm going to ask Bob to meet with me for 1 hour in the Eastern time zone. So if Bob was somewhere else, I can choose those things. This is not going to be a recurring meeting, although it could be. And I could meet with Bob every Friday at 6. And I could set things like meet every other week, meet once a month, whatever it may be. And in the beginning, when we started talking, remember where it said join and it said to enter a personal meeting ID number? This is my ID number, but what I like to do is I like to generate an automatic ID number every time so that it keeps changing and it just takes the work away from me and it puts it onto the computer. I also require a meeting password. Now, the people who get this password will not have to type this password in, but by me requiring it, it'll automatically type this password that will generate automatically every time in a new way. The other option that you have is you can decide to turn your video on as soon as you log on as the host, or your participants, the same thing. Now, I will say that if you use this feature, be ready for your camera to turn on as soon as your meeting turns on. So if you're in your pajamas, or if you need to fix your desk or do whatever it is that you need to do, you might want to choose the off feature and then control when your video comes on. I also like to give that option to my participants. The next thing you can control is audio, how people connect to your meeting. I like to give them both options, telephone and computer audio. And then the last thing is, once we hit schedule, this is going to generate that automatic link that we talked about. And in my case, I use Outlook, but it can go to your Google Calendar or any other calendar that you may have. So I'm going to left click on schedule. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up my Outlook Express again. If you look at my Outlook, it's blinking here. And you notice that my calendar has now opened up with a type of email that invites people to a calendar. Now, once I send this as a calendar invite, I'm going to send it to Juan again, and in this case to Rihanna, so she can jump on the Zoom call with us. This will automatically embed or insert itself onto a person's calendar if in fact they are using Outlook, which for the sake of business purposes, most people do. Now, once I send this, whoever gets this, you see how this is blue? This is that same link that we had before in the other meeting. A person's just going to click on this, and it's automatically going to take them to the meeting. So I will not send that in order to not start a new meeting. But that is it for this part of the Zoom meeting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Rihanna to meet with me in a meeting so we can show you some of those features. Okay, guys, I am back, and I have sent Rihanna a link, which is the same link that we generated previously, and she has clicked on it. And that was the link that said for Bob. So okay. You went ahead and clicked on that link. And now I am going to show you my screen so that you guys could see what I see, right? And so on my screen, you will see, oh, let me go back to Zoom. All right, let me just make this big so you can actually see Rihanna, right? So the reason for me sharing my screen is while I am on a Zoom call with someone like Rihanna, and Rihanna says, oh, I really want to see your presentation for Heart to Heart. So I'm going to go down here to my start menu, and I actually have a presentation that I like to show people. And I can just open this presentation up. And now Rihanna can see my presentation. Typically, you want to do these things ahead of time so people don't see all the personal stuff on your computer if you don't want them to see. But now Rihanna can see my presentation on her screen. Is that right, Rihanna? She's got to unmute. Yes. Okay, good. So now I can talk to Rihanna about my company or about whatever. Maybe I can, maybe we're family and I'm showing her pictures, right, of my family. The other thing that I can do is, if you see here, I can hover over Rihanna's screen and it says mute. So I can mute her. So a lot of times when people are talking, they don't realize they're in the car and they have a lot of background noise. And so I can mute her. So now whatever background noise she has in her office, none of us can hear. I also have other options. I can chat her. So I can say, so this is only going to Rihanna. And I could say, hi, Rihanna. And if there's other people in the chat, I can say, this Zoom is boring or something, right? Whatever it is. And so she could write me back, right?
And if I wanted to pin the video, I could do that. And what that does is it only shows her face. All right, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to unpin the video. I'm going to pin the video again, and it only shows Rihanna. And then I'm going to go over here to show the rest of my thumbnails. I'm going to make sure I unpin it. The other thing I can do is I can make Rihanna the host, and I can allow her to record. So if I make her the host, she can now go and share screens just like I did, right? You'll also notice that if I hover over here, I can ask for remote control of Rihanna's keyboard, for example. I can annotate things, so I can write on the screen. I can pause the share, and I can do so many other things. So the idea behind Zoom is that if you can think it, it can pretty much do it. You just kind of have to follow the prompt. So just for a second, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can go back into here, right? And that's pretty much all of Zoom. The only part that I have not shown you so far in this tutorial is actually clicking on the link. So we did talk about getting onto Zoom, signing onto Zoom, creating a link, starting your own meeting and sending a link. The only thing that would be left is really to click on the actual link to a Zoom. And while we are doing this, let me go ahead and show that to you. So Rihanna's going to stay on, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. Okay. And instead of staying in my presentation, I'm going to X out of that. If it'll let me. There you go. All right. So now what you see is my desktop. So I'm going to go to my Windows Microsoft Outlook, which is right down here, which is my mail. And I'm going to go to my calendar because that's where I sent the link out of, right? And so remember that meeting that I made at 2 p.m. for Juan and Bob? I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I'm just going to click that link right there, and it's going to open the meeting right up. Now, I can't do it right now because I'm already in my own meeting. And if I do that, it'll just confuse the system. But let's just say it was Bob clicking on this. Bob would just click on this link, and it'll say download or run Zoom. And he can do either. If he runs a Zoom, it's because he already has the app, or he can even run it from the website, or he could download Zoom onto his computer or onto his phone. So I hope that that is helpful for everyone when it comes to Zoom. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Rihanna or myself at Heart to Heart Outreach in South Florida. Our phone number here at the office is 954-315-2218, or you can go to our website, which is heart2 with the number 2, heart2heartoutreach.org, and we'd love to hear from you as well. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.